The stars looked calm, but Commander Hale knew better. Nothing in deep space ever stayed calm for long. He stood at the command deck of the UHS Valiant, watching the silent glow of the Orion frontier. His fleet, 7 human warships, drifted quietly among the stars, waiting for orders that never seemed to come. They had been here for 3 days. No enemy, no movement, no sound. Just static on every channel. Then, at 0347 ship time, the silence broke. "Commander," Lieutenant Mira called from the communications console, "I'm picking up an energy pulse." Not from any known source. Hale turned sharply. "Define unknown." "It's not a weapon," she replied. "More like a message. But it's not in any alien code. It's human." The word human made everyone on the bridge go silent. "Play it," Hale ordered. A low hum filled the air. The speakers crackled. Then a voice, deep, calm, and disturbingly familiar, echoed through the bridge. "If you are hearing this, you're already too late. They know where you are. You must not trust." The message ended suddenly. Hale froze. Every eye turned to him, because the voice on the recording was his. "Run that again," he said quietly. The voice repeated. Same tone, same rhythm, even the same pause between words. Lieutenant Mira's hands trembled. "Commander, it's you. The recording is from your voice pattern." "Perfect match, but that's impossible," Hale muttered. "When was this recorded?" Mira checked the data. Her face went pale. "Sir, timestamp shows 3 days from now." The bridge fell completely silent. Only the hum of the ship's reactor could be heard. Hale stared at the stars. Something about the Orion frontier suddenly felt wrong. Too quiet, too perfect. "Commander," said his first officer, Captain Dre, "could it be some kind of trick? A psychological weapon?" Hale shook his head. "No alien tech we know can fake human voice pattern that accurately, especially mine." "Then how?" "That's what I intend to find out." He straightened up. "Signal the fleet. We're going dark. No transmissions. No movement until further notice." The order was given. One by one, the human ships shut down external lights, their hulls fading into the black sea of space. They became ghosts among the stars. Hours passed. Hale sat alone in his private quarters, replaying the message again and again. Every time he heard it, a strange chill ran down his spine. If you are hearing this, you're already too late. What did it mean? Who was they? And why did his future self send a warning to the past? He opened a secure terminal and began analyzing the signal data himself. It wasn't like any normal transmission. The pulse frequency was twisted, slightly shifted as if bent by gravity, temporal distortion, he realized. The kind seen only near wormholes or black holes, but there were none within 100 light years. He rubbed his eyes, exhausted. "Am I missing something?" The door chime interrupted his thoughts. "Enter," he said. Lieutenant Mira stepped in, holding a datapad. "Sir, we've mapped the source. The signal came from within our own fleet, but from empty space. Nothing's there. Show me." She projected a hologram of the sector. A red dot blinked only 2 kilometers from their position. But when they sent probes, they found nothing. No ship, no debris, no energy trace. "It's like it appeared and vanished in seconds," she said. Hale leaned closer. "Or maybe it's not in our time anymore." Before Mira could answer, the ship's alarm screamed. "Unidentified contact," shouted a voice over the intercom. "Sector 7! Moving fast." Hale ran back to the bridge. The screen lit up with red indicators. An object was approaching, straight toward them. Visual. The main display flickered, showing a dark, angular shape sliding through the void. It wasn't alien. The hull design, the markings, even the thruster pattern, all were human, but the ship didn't respond to Hale's. It didn't transmit an ID code. "It's a ghost ship," Dre whispered. "Power up shields," Hale ordered. "Do not fire unless fired upon." The unknown vessel stopped, just outside weapon range. Then its lights flickered. A narrow beam transmission hit the Valiant. "Audio only," Mira said. Hale nodded. "Play it!" The voice came through the speakers. "Hale, if you're hearing me, listen carefully. This isn't your enemy, not yet. Don't let them see you. The battle hasn't begun, but it's coming. And when it does, It will change everything. Static swallowed the rest. The crew sat frozen. Hale's heart pounded in his chest. That voice, it was him again, but older, tired. Trace it. He barked. I can't, Mira said. The signal. It came from inside the distortion zone. Then the ship vanished. Hale looked at the empty space where the ghost ship had been. Only the cold stars remained. He felt the weight of the message pressing on him, a warning from himself, from a future he couldn't yet understand. Commander, Dre said quietly, what do we do now? Hale stared into the dark. We prepare, because whatever's coming, it knows we're here. He turned toward the window. Beyond the glass, faint lights moved at the edge of the frontier, like eyes opening in the dark, and for the first time in years, Commander Hale felt something he hadn't felt since the war began. Fear. The next 12 hours felt endless. Commander Hale barely slept. His mind kept replaying that haunting voice, his own voice, warning him that the battle hadn't begun yet. But if it hadn't, then what were those lights moving at the edge of the frontier? By dawn cycle, the fleet's sensors began to pick up multiple contacts. Small ships, fast, no transponders. No known design, but their engines used human fusion signatures, Commander, said Captain Dre, standing beside him at the main display. I'm reading 12 contacts. Closing at combat speed. Human fusion tech? Hale asked. Yes, sir. And identical to ours, Hale frowned. How is that possible? Lieutenant Mira interrupted. Sir, they're locking weapons. Shields up. The first volley hit before Hale could even speak again. The bridge shook violently. Warning lights flashed red across every panel. Report. Minor hull damage, decks 3 and 4, Dre shouted. No breaches. Fleet is returning fire. Through the main viewport, brilliant streaks of plasma fire lit up the darkness. Human ships, real human ships, firing on them with perfect precision. Whoever they are, Hale said, they know our tactics. Mira's voice was tight. They're using our tactics, sir. One of the enemy vessels swept past their flank, engines burning white-hot. Its hull markings flashed for just a moment, and Hale froze. Printed across the side was a symbol he knew too well, the crest of his own fleet. How can that be? Dre whispered. That's our insignia. Hale clenched his fists. Either someone's copying us, or those ships are us. The battle raged for 20 long minutes. Both sides fought with equal strength, equal skill. Every maneuver Hale tried, the enemy countered instantly, as if they already knew his next move. Commander, the UHS Valor is hit. Mira called. Her reactor's unstable. Get her crew out of there. A massive explosion cut her off. The viewport flared white as the Valor vanished in a burst of light. Silence followed. The enemy ships began to retreat, fading into the void as quickly as they had come. Hale stood among the wreckage of his own fleet, jaw tight. 3 ships lost, over 600 lives gone in minutes. Sir, Mira said softly, one of the enemy ships is disabled. Reactor offline. Minimal power. It's drifting. Hale's eyes narrowed. Lock a tractor beam. Bring it in. An hour later, the captured vessel was docked inside the Valiant's hangar. Security teams in armored suits surrounded it, weapons ready. The ship looked exactly like theirs, same hull plating, same control panels, same weapon mounts. Every detail screamed human. Open it, Hale ordered. The hatch hissed open. The smell of burned circuitry and ozone filled the air. Inside, dim lights flickered. Hale stepped in first, his boots echoing on the metal floor. Commander, one of the soldiers said, we found the pilot. Still alive, Hale moved closer. A figure sat slumped in the cockpit seat, wearing a dark flight suit marked with the Valiant's insignia. Get the helmet off, he said. The soldier hesitated, then pulled it away. The face beneath was human, pale, bruised, but unmistakably human. The crew gasped. Mira whispered, Sir, he looks exactly like you. Hale stared at the unconscious man. The same jawline, the same scar on the temple, the same faint streak of silver hair. This isn't possible, Dre muttered. Is it a clone? Hale leaned closer. The man's eyes flickered open, sharp, grey and cold. He smiled weakly. You shouldn't have found me. Not yet. Who are you? Hale demanded. The man coughed, blood staining his lips. You already know. Where are you from? The double's gaze drifted to the ceiling. Not where. When silence. The soldiers looked at each other. Hale felt a chill crawl up his spine. Explain. The man closed his eyes. You tried to stop it once. You failed. We were born from your failure. The only way to win is to erase the beginning. What beginning? Hale asked. The man didn't answer. His pulse flatlined. The monitor beeped once, then stopped. Back on the bridge, Hale stared at the data they'd taken from the enemy ship. It was full of human codes, fleet maps, and tactical plans. But the dates were wrong. Many were marked with years that hadn't happened yet. Temporal displacement confirmed, Mira said quietly. The ship's quantum clock is 207 years ahead of our time. So, they're from the future, Dre said. Hale nodded slowly. A future where humanity fights itself. Mira looked up. But why attack us? We're their past. Maybe, Hale said grimly, they think destroying us changes what's coming. That night the fleet was silent again. The survivors drifted among wrecks of their own ships. Hale stood at the observation deck, staring at the stars. He thought about the warning, his own voice, from the future, and about the man who looked just like him. Dead on the medical table below, everything pointed to one truth. This wasn't a war against aliens. It was a war across time. He whispered to himself, the enemy shouldn't exist. But somehow it does. The lights outside flickered again, faint and distant, like the ghosts of ships waiting in the dark. And deep down, Commander Hale knew one thing. The real battle hadn't even begun. The air on the command deck felt heavier than before. No one spoke unless they had to. The image of that dead pilot, the man who looked exactly like Commander Hale, haunted everyone. Hale hadn't left the bridge in 2 days. His eyes were red from lack of sleep. His mind kept turning the same questions over and over. If those ships were from the future, if that man really was him, then what future could possibly make humans fight their own past? Commander, said Lieutenant Mira softly, you should rest. I'll rest when I understand what's happening, he replied. Eyes still locked on the hollow display. The captured ship's data core floated in the center of the lab. Engineers had been working non-stop to decrypt it. Every time they unlocked a layer, they found stranger information. At last, Mira approached with a data pad. Sir, we've managed to decode a fragment. Let's see it. The hologram flickered to life, showing lines of text and symbols. At the top was a date, year 2489. That was 2 centuries ahead of Hale's time. Underneath, a message played in a cold, mechanical voice. Project Helios active. Commander Hale unit confirmed as original source. Temporal strike authorized. Mira looked up slowly. Commander Hale unit! That means they built copies. Of you. Hale's stomach turned. Copies for what? Sir, she said carefully, we think those future ships weren't crewed by people. They were crewed by versions of you. The room went silent. Even the hum of the reactor felt distant. Hale's voice came out low. They cloned me to fight me. Hours later, the science team called him again. Commander, we found a deeper file, a video log. Play it. The hologram changed. Static at first. Then an image formed. A man sitting in a dark room. His face was older, scarred, but clearly Hale's own. The man spoke directly into the recorder. If you are watching this, you've found what we became. The Federation didn't survive. We thought we could rewrite history, but we only destroyed it. You must not let them use the core. Destroy it. End this cycle. The image glitched, then cut out. Mira turned to him. What is the core, sir? Hale didn't answer right away. His memory flashed back to old classified reports. Black ink projects buried deep inside military archives. Project Helios. Temporal engine prototype. The core. It was said to bend time around a ship, to move it between seconds like a shadow. The last record said it was destroyed, but if the future had rebuilt it, then maybe this war began because of him. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Commander, distortion field detected off our port side. Hale and his officers ran to the viewing deck. Outside, space itself rippled as bending like liquid. A ship was emerging from nothing, but this one wasn't attacking. It was half-broken, leaking plasma, moving slowly. Life signs. "One," Mira said. "Human. Bring them aboard, carefully." In the medbay, the survivor lay weak and pale, wearing the same uniform as Hale's fleet, but burned and torn. When he opened his eyes, he whispered, "You're earlier." "Good." Hale stepped forward. "Who are you?" The man looked up at him and smiled faintly. "Another you, of course." "But not from their side." Mira exchanged a shocked glance with Dre. The man continued, voice shaking. "We tried to stop them. The others. They think they're saving humanity by erasing everything before the core. But every time they attack, the timeline shatters more. We're losing pieces of reality itself." "What do you mean, losing?" Hale asked. The man reached weakly toward him. "Stars, systems, people, they just vanish. Like they never existed. The timeline is collapsing." Hale felt cold sweat on his neck. "How do we stop it?" The man's eyes dimmed. "Find the origin. The first activation of the core. It's the only fixed point left." "Where?" He tried to speak, but his voice broke. His last words were barely a whisper. "Helios base. Earth sector, year 2470. Then he was gone. Back on the bridge, Hale stood in silence. The crew waited for orders. Dre finally spoke. "Commander, are you sure we can trust him? Another version of you from another time?" Hale nodded slowly. "If he's right, this isn't just a war. It's the end of everything. Every time we fight, time itself breaks more." Mira stepped closer. "Sir, if we go after this Helios base, we'll have to cross the distortion zone. That could tear us apart." "I know," Hale said. "But doing nothing will destroy us anyway." He turned to face his crew. "Prepare the fleet. We're going into the storm." As the ships aligned for jump, the stars outside began to twist again, faint shadows flickering across the void, and among those shadows, Hale thought he saw something move. A reflection of himself standing among a different crew, on a different bridge, watching him through the glass. He blinked, and it was gone. "Helios base," he whispered. "This is where it all began." The fleet engines roared to life. Light bent. Space folded around them. Commander Hale looked straight ahead as the jump countdown began. For the first time, he wasn't sure if they were heading toward the future or back into it. The Valiant cut through the void like a silent blade. Commander Hale's fleet had entered the distortion zone, a place where space bent, shimmered, and whispered like a living storm. Every sensor flickered. Time itself felt uncertain here. Clocks slowed, voices echoed twice, and sometimes shadows moved where no one stood. Hale watched the swirling darkness outside from the bridge. "How long until we exit the zone?" he asked. Lieutenant Mira checked her console. "We don't know, sir. Navigation can't read time flow. It says we've been here for 5 minutes. Or 5 hours. Keep course steady," Hale said. "We reach Helios base no matter what it takes." But deep inside, he couldn't shake a growing unease. Something felt wrong aboard his ship. That feeling only grew stronger over the next 2 days. First, minor things went missing. Data files, log entries, sensor readings. Then encrypted transmissions appeared in the communication logs. None had been sent by his crew. Mira looked pale as she read the data. "Someone on board is sending coordinates to the enemy, sir." Hale's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. All transmissions go through my authorization." "Exactly," Mira whispered. "Whoever did this used your command codes." The bridge fell silent. Everyone looked at Hale, then quickly looked away. "Check every console," Hale ordered coldly. "I want the source found. Now." Hours later, Mira came to his quarters with a data pad. Her face was pale, eyes full of worry. "Commander," she said softly, "we found the transmission terminal." "Whose station?" She hesitated. "Yours, sir. It came from your private console." "At 0300, Hale frowned. "That's impossible." "I was asleep." "I know," Mira said. "That's what the logs show. Your quarter's sensors recorded no movement. Then how—" Hale stopped mid-sentence. A cold realization crept through his mind. If time was breaking apart, could another version of himself have done it? Later that cycle, Hale met Captain Dre in the war room. Holograms of the fleet floated around them, ghostly blue ships surrounded by storms of light. Dre, Hale said quietly, I need you to lock down every corridor near my quarters. No one enters without my direct order. Not even me, Dre frowned. You think someone's impersonating you? I think, Hale said slowly, someone is me. The captain didn't laugh. He'd seen too much to doubt his commander now. At 0400, the ship's alarm screamed. Hale rushed from his bunk, weapon drawn. He followed the red lights down the hall, toward the secured sector. 2 guards lay unconscious by the door. Inside, the air shimmered, like heat waves twisting reality. He stepped in and froze. Standing by his personal console was himself, the same face, the same uniform, but older, harder, eyes cold as steel. The other Hale didn't turn around right away. He just said, You shouldn't have followed me. Who are you? Hale demanded. The double smiled faintly. I'm you, the one who made the hard choice. Choice? To save humanity, the double said, typing quickly on the console. We failed once. I'm here to make sure we don't fail again. By betraying the fleet, Hale shouted. The other Hale's fingers stopped. You don't understand yet. This timeline must end. Only one version of humanity survives. He hit the final key. The console flashed, transmitting something through the distortion storm. Hale aimed his weapon. Stop right there. The double turned, eyes filled with strange sadness. You think you're fighting me, but you're only fighting what you'll become. A bright flash erupted. The room twisted, walls bending like mirrors. When Hale's vision cleared, the other version was gone. Commander! Mira ran in seconds later. We detected a time surge near your quarters. What happened? Hale looked at the console, its screen still glowing red. He was here. Who? Myself, Mira froze. So what did he send? Hale checked the console logs. The data was encrypted, but one line was clear. Transmission sent to Fleet Command, year 2489. Hale's heart sank. The message had gone to the future fleet. The enemy. Commander, Dre said, rushing in. The other ships are reporting movement, dozens of contacts ahead. The enemy's waiting for us. Hale closed his eyes. So that was the betrayal. His other self had warned the future version of the coming. Attack, their own move, he whispered bitterly. He betrayed us to protect the future. As the battle alarms rang again, Hale stood silent for a moment, gripping the console where his own fingerprints still glowed. If there were more versions of him, how many had made different choices? How many had already died trying to change this impossible loop? He turned toward the bridge. Signal the fleet. Prepare all weapons. This is no longer reconnaissance. It's war. Dre nodded. What about the traitor? Hale's eyes hardened. He's gone. But he's still me, and I'll find him again, even if I have to chase him through time itself. The Valiant turned toward the heart of the distortion. Beyond the storm waited Helios Base, and maybe the truth about why all this began. Hale stood on the bridge, the weight of 2 centuries pressing on his shoulders. He no longer feared the enemy outside. He feared the one that wore his own face. The stars around the Valiant twisted and broke apart like shattered glass. Commander Hale stood on the bridge, watching the distortion ahead open into a massive storm of light. Beyond it, the scanners showed thousands of signatures, ships, stations, drones, forming an armada unlike anything humanity had ever built. Is that Helios Base? Lieutenant Mira whispered. Hale nodded slowly. Yes, or what's left of it. The base floated inside the storm, a ring of black metal surrounding a pulsing sphere of light. The core, the source of everything. Sir, Captain Dre said, the fleet ahead. Half of them are human. Hale's eyes narrowed. And the other half? Also human, sir. Different designs, different centuries. Mira looked up from her console. It's both sides, 2 versions of humanity, fighting each other. Hale felt a heavy weight in his chest. Then it's true. This isn't just a war. It's a war across time. Suddenly the comms crackled. A voice came through, deep, familiar, calm. Commander Hale, this is Admiral Hale of the Federation Future Fleet. Power down your weapons. Stand by for transfer. Everyone froze. The voice was his again, older, stronger, commanding an entire army. Dre whispered, That's him. The one from the recordings. Hale leaned forward. This is Commander Hale of the Valiant. You're killing your own history. You'll destroy humanity itself." The reply came cold and sure. "Humanity cannot survive without sacrifice. You were weak, Commander. You let the core fall into chaos. I will correct your mistake, even if it means erasing your time." Static filled the speakers. Then the sensors screamed, multiple warp signatures. "They're charging weapons!" Hale didn't hesitate. "All ships, defensive formation. Prepare for return fire." The first blast struck like thunder. A wall of energy ripped through the void, tearing smaller ships apart in seconds. Hale's fleet fired back, blue plasma bolts lighting the darkness like burning comets. Explosions rippled across the stars. The storm flared, bending space until ships vanished and reappeared miles away in flashes of light. Mira's voice rose above the chaos. "We can't hold them, sir. They outnumber us 10-1. "Then we don't fight to win," Hale said. "We fight to reach the core." The Valiant broke formation, engines flaring. The ship dove straight through the battlefield, weaving between blasts and debris. Dre gripped the console. "They're focusing fire on us." "Good," Hale said. "Let them chase me." As they neared the storm's center, the core grew larger, a sphere of shifting light, glowing with impossible energy. Lightning arcs danced across it like veins of gold. Mira whispered, "It's beautiful." "And terrifying." Hale stared at it. "That thing is rewriting time itself. Every pulse changes the past." "Commander," Dre said urgently, "if we go closer, the ship's timeline could collapse. We might not survive." Hale's eyes were hard. "We survived long enough to finish this." Then the comms flickered again. Admiral Hale's voice returned, calm but edged with warning. "You don't understand, Commander. Without the core, humanity dies. The future needs this power." Hale replied, "The future doesn't need gods. It needs people. You're still naive. I've seen what comes after you. The alien fleets, the plagues, the wars. The core is our only chance." Hale shook his head. "No, the core is the reason all of that happens. Then you leave me no choice." A massive beam of energy cut through the darkness, a direct hit. The Valiant shook violently, alarms screaming, shields failing. Mira shouted, "We've lost engines 3 and 4. Hale gritted his teeth. "Divert all power to forward shields. Aim for the core." Dre turned to him, shocked. "Sir, if we fire on that thing, it could tear time apart." "It already is," Hale said. "We end this now." The Valiant's forward cannons glowed white-hot. "Fire!" Hale ordered. Twin plasma bolts slammed into the core. The storm exploded in blinding light. Every ship, friend and foe, was thrown backward. Time itself screamed. The stars vanished. For a moment there was nothing. No sound, no light. No feeling. Then Hale opened his eyes. The bridge was quiet. The lights were dim. Everything was still. "Status?" he said weakly. Mira blinked at her console. "Sir, we're inside the core." Through the viewport, swirling clouds of light surrounded them. Not space, not time, but something between both. "Commander," Dre said, voice trembling, "I think we're seeing time itself." Hale stared into the glowing abyss. Within the shifting light he saw images, battles, faces, cities burning, people he didn't know yet. Futures and pasts colliding, and in the center of it all a figure stood, the Admiral version of himself, waiting. He spoke, though his lips didn't move. "You can't destroy what you already are, Commander. You are the cause and the consequence." Hale clenched his fists. "Maybe, but I can still choose." The core pulsed brighter. Reality began to tear apart around them. "Sir," Mira shouted, "we're losing everything." Hull temperature rising, systems breaking down. Hale's voice stayed calm. "Prepare emergency core override. If we can destabilize this thing from the inside, maybe we can collapse the time field." Dre hesitated. "And us?" Hale met his gaze. "We won't make it out. But maybe the rest of humanity will." Outside, the light swallowed everything. Past and future burned together. Commander Hale stood tall on his bridge, the man who had fought himself across time, and whispered to the storm, "Let this be the last war." Then he gave the final order, "Detonate the core." Silence. That was the first thing Commander Hale noticed after the blast, not the light. Not the pain, just the silence. No alarms, no voices. No ship. He floated in a strange white void, weightless, surrounded by drifting fragments of glass-like light. Every shard shimmered with faint images, stars being born, planets crumbling, soldiers fighting, children laughing. Time itself was scattered around him like broken mirrors. "Where am I?" he whispered. His voice echoed strangely, repeating itself seconds before he spoke, then again after, and then another voice answered, deep and tired. "You're between moments. Between what was and what might still be." Hale turned. Out of the light stepped a familiar figure, older, weary, and burned by battle scars. It was him again. The Admiral. The older Hale looked almost transparent, like a ghost made of smoke and memory. "You destroyed the core," the Admiral said. "I didn't think you had it in you." Hale stared at him. "Are we dead?" "Not yet, but the timeline is." Hale frowned. "What does that mean?" The Admiral gestured toward the drifting lights around them. "You broke the cycle, the loop that kept repeating our mistakes. Now everything that depended on it is unraveling." Images flickered inside the glowing shards. People fading, worlds dissolving, battles never fought. Mira, Dre, the crew, gone. "Where's my fleet?" Hale demanded. The Admiral's eyes softened. "Erased. They never existed in this new stream." Hale clenched his fists. "Then what did I save?" The older version smiled sadly. "You saved the possibility of something better. The core's destruction means time can heal, but it comes with a price." "What price?" "You." The space around them shuddered. Hale felt his hands flicker, fading slightly like he was becoming part of the light. "I'm dying." "Not dying," said the Admiral quietly. "Just being written out. The universe is repairing itself. The paradox of you and me existing together can't hold." Hale looked at his fading fingers. "So I disappear?" The Admiral nodded. "So they can live." He pointed to one of the shards floating nearby. Inside it, Hale saw Earth, peaceful, untouched by war. No fleet, no Helios base. Humanity thriving quietly under blue skies. "That's what comes next," the Admiral said. "A future without this war." Hale's voice broke slightly. "And you? What happens to you?" "I'm already gone," the Admiral said with a faint smile. "You're looking at what's left of my memory." He stepped closer. "Listen carefully. Before everything resets, you'll have one chance, one message that will reach across time. A message. Yes, the same one that started all this." Realization hit Hale like a punch. "The signal. From the beginning." The Admiral nodded slowly. "You were always the one who sent it. You warned yourself. That's how the cycle began." Hale's chest tightened. "Then if I send it again, this all repeats. Unless you change it." Hale hesitated. "Change it how?" "Don't warn yourself," said the Admiral. "Give hope instead. Let the past believe it still matters." The void trembled harder now. Pieces of light began to spin faster, drawn into a bright center, the rebirth of time itself. The Admiral's voice grew faint. "You have to go, Commander. Finish it. You've earned the right to choose what comes next." Hale reached out. "Wait!" But the older version was already fading into light. Then in an instant everything went dark. Hale gasped. Air filled his lungs again. He was on the Valiant's bridge, alarms blaring softly. Mira was there. Dre too, the crew alive, confused but unharmed. "Commander," Mira said, blinking. "What happened?" "We lost contact for a moment. Then the core disappeared." Hale looked around, heart pounding. The stars outside were calm again. No distortion, no enemy fleet, just deep, quiet space. He realized what had happened. Time had rewritten itself. "Status report," he said, steadying his voice. "All systems stable. No damage, but sir..." Mira hesitated. "There's no record of any battle. No logs, no debris. It's like it never happened." Hale nodded slowly. "Good," Dre frowned. "Good? Commander, we just lost 2 days of data." Hale gave a small smile. Then maybe those were 2 days humanity wasn't meant to remember. Later, when the ship was quiet, Hale sat alone in his quarters. He opened the communication console, the same device that once sent the first message, the one that warned him of the ambush. He hesitated, then began recording. This is Commander Hale of the UHS Valiant. If you ever find this message, don't be afraid. The storm will come, but humanity endures. We always do. He stopped the recording, looked at it for a long moment, then pressed send. The console hummed softly, sending the signal into the vast sea of stars. Outside, the light of the message drifted across space, a small, golden spark in the dark, and far away, somewhere in another time. Another version of Hale would one day hear it and wonder what it meant. The cycle was broken, but the hope remained. Commander Hale leaned back in his chair, whispering to the stars, "No more warnings, only beginnings." The message had been sent. Commander Hale stood on the bridge of the Valiant, staring at the quiet stars. No battles, no distortions, no enemy fleets tearing through time, just silence, deep and peaceful, but inside him something still whispered. He could feel the universe shifting, like a storm still waiting to be born. Mira approached quietly. "Sir, are we sure it's over?" Hale didn't answer right away. He looked at the stars, then at the faint pulse of the message still traveling through space. Finally, he said, "No, it's never over, but maybe this time. It's different." Hours passed. The crew moved about the bridge, scanning, recording, trying to make sense of the strange calm. Then suddenly, a soft ping. "Commander," Mira said, eyes wide. "We're picking up a response." "A response?" "Yes, sir. It's faint, but it's coming from deep space." And she hesitated. "It's human." Hale's heart skipped a beat. "Put it through." Static filled the bridge, then a young voice came through. "This is Ensign Lyra of the Deep Space Colony Arc Horizon. We received your transmission, Commander Hale. Humanity is alive." "We're rebuilding," Mira gasped. "A colony ship? That's from the future timeline." Hale's breath caught. "You mean we actually made it?" "Yes, Commander," Lyra's voice said softly. "The wars never happened. The core was never found. But your message, it became a legend. It's the reason we kept going." Everyone on the bridge froze. Mira covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. Dre just whispered, "He did it." Hale closed his eyes. The burden he'd carried for so long finally lifted, but the moment of peace didn't last. The scanners beeped again. "Unidentified object approaching, fast!" Dre shouted. The main screen flashed. A dark shape streaked through the stars, glowing with strange energy. Mira frowned. "It's not a ship. It's something else. It looks like..." Before she could finish, the object stopped, right in front of them. A ripple spread across space, and from within the light, a humanoid figure appeared. Metallic, shifting, alive with blue fire. "Sir," Mira whispered, "it's not human." Hale stood, staring. "Open channel." The voice that answered wasn't like any they had heard before. Calm, layered, ancient. "Commander Hale, you have broken the pattern. Time bends differently now. Who are you?" Hale demanded. "We are the architects, the watchers of what was and what could be. You have done what no species has. You changed the fixed stream." The crew looked stunned. Mira whispered, "They're real. The core was never yours to control." The being continued. "It was a seed, a test. Humanity has passed." Hale took a step forward. "Then what happens now? Now you must choose. Do you want to remember what was, or live in what will be?" Hale frowned. "Explain. If you remember, you keep your pain, your battles, your sacrifice, but you remain separate from the new time. If you forget, you live as part of what you created, a peaceful world that never knew this war." Mira looked at him, eyes wet. "Sir, what will you choose?" Hale looked around at his crew, the faces of people who had followed him through time and death. He felt pride. He felt peace. He turned back to the being. "I've seen what happens when people try to control the future," Hale said quietly. "It breaks everything. So this time, I'll let it go." The being bowed its head slightly. "Then your choice is made." Light surrounded the bridge, warm and golden. Hale felt everything, the ship, the stars, even his memories, begin to dissolve. Mira's voice echoed faintly. "Commander!" He smiled softly. "Thank you, Mira. You all did more than anyone ever could." Then the light swallowed him whole. When Hale opened his eyes again, He was standing on a quiet field of green grass under a blue sky. Children were laughing nearby. The sound of wind brushed through the trees. He looked down. His uniform was gone. He wore simple clothes. His rank, his ship, his battles, gone. A woman walked past, smiling at him. "Good morning," she said kindly. He nodded back, feeling something he hadn't felt in years, peace. As he turned toward the horizon, a faint glimmer in the sky caught his eye. A bright star pulsing gently, almost like a heartbeat. For a brief second he remembered. The ship, the crew, the message, he whispered softly to himself. We made it. And somewhere in the distant universe, beyond time and beyond war, the light of his final message still traveled, carrying his words forever. Humanity endures. We always do. Epilogue centuries later on a far-off colony, children gathered around a monument shaped like a starship's bridge. A teacher stood before them, reading from an old plaque. To Commander Hale and the crew of the UHS Valiant, the ones who fought the war that never was. Their courage reshaped time itself. One of the children looked up. "Teacher, do you think he was real?" The teacher smiled. "Maybe, or maybe he was just a story meant to remind us what we can be." The sky above shimmered, a faint golden light crossing the stars. And though no one knew for sure, some said it was the Valiant still flying, guarding the time it helped create.